So we're heading back down to the start, and I'm pleased to say we've been joined by Adam Freeman-Pask in the commentary box as well. And the reason for that is because he is from the Windsor Boys School, and he's going to watch his old school racing in the Fawley against Sydney Rowing Club.
Thank you very much, Greg. Warm welcome to all the Sydney fans tuning early in the morning. But yes, Windsor Boys fever has taken over the commentary box slightly here.
And I'm also pleased to see Adam Freeman-Pask wearing the same tie as myself, which is something quite special the two of us share. It's a Wingfields tie, which is a single sculling race, one of the oldest races in history.
Yeah, definitely, Greg. Sadly, we didn't get to race each other, but today this is going to be exciting here. The British crew, Windsor Boys School, my old club, versus Sydney Rowing Club. Obviously, Sydney don't come over very often. Their last time they won this was 2015, and 2005 before that. Windsor Boys crew just on the shot there. 3 returning from last year's win.
And I'm pleased to see the Sydney crew here looking absolutely fine. They had a bit of a scare in training yesterday morning. Unfortunately, they managed to collide with something in the water, and they're in a different boat now. Couldn't make repairs to that first boat. And I'm very, very pleased to see them here and fine and ready to race.
So the semi-final coming up of the Fawley Challenge Cup between the Windsor Boys School and Sydney Rowing Club in Australia. The crews are now sitting relaxed, but I'm sure plenty of nervous anticipation as they wait on the start for the umpire to take their feet. See the Sydney crew taking a final drink from the bottle. Looked to me like the stroke man there, Harry Crouch, just tucked the bottle away and he didn't tip the contents away. What do you think of that, guys?
It's a pretty hot day, I don't blame him. He might want a little sip afterwards.
Well, that's one point, but you don't want to be carrying it down the course, Adam.
I was never a man for carrying the water. I was always a bit superstitious. Didn't want any extra weight in the boat, so I'd tip that last drop out, possibly throw it to the stake boat boy or girl and ask them to just put it in the bin for me later. But as you say, hot conditions. It's a hot, sunny day here at Henley Royal Regatta. There's a breeze out there now. I don't think it's disturbing the cruiser. Certainly not disturbing the water along Temple Island. That looks beautiful, doesn't it? The racecourse ahead.
It's gorgeous. Yeah, it's been an absolute scorcher today, and now that wind is just puffing them along. It's going to be a quick race, this.
Yeah, it's the first time I felt it actually in my face, because we're down at the finish line, and we've got an open window in front of us with the TV monitors here, and I can just feel that breeze just coming into my face. It's lovely actually now. As we wait down here at the finish, the crews for the next race are allowed to row in the course. So there's actually crews in the race course going in the wrong direction. They will row along till they get to what's known as the Berkshire Channel, where they will then cut in so that they obviously don't get caught when the racing crews come towards them. I think the racing crews have come forward, so I can only think the umpires now taken to their feet.
Attention! Go! Get ready, please.
So most of the boys there with their blades square in the water. Interesting to see Harry Crouch there, the last one to drop the blades in the square. I always quite like that because you keep the balance, you keep the stability to the very last minute. Don't want to sit there wobbling around with the blade square for too long. And then you see both birds getting away really quite nicely.
That's a beautiful spot, isn't it? And we're just watching for the steering at the moment. It's that Sydney quad that's just coming up close to the island. It'll feel very, very close there, and absolutely that's fine. They've just straightened themselves up. Nothing needed for the umpire, but they're about to come on to the booms.
Yeah, they've handled that very well, haven't they? Because they went quite close, but they were gentle with the steering away. It's all too often you can see someone drift towards and then aggressively steer away. So they've done well there, and that's shown, hasn't it? Both crews are pretty level there at the end of the island.
Yeah, end of the island, crews pretty level, and as you say, just a smooth correction on the rudder. It's again Harry Crouch in the stroke seat. He's the one with the rudder attached to his foot, makes a small correction, and pretty much stroke for stroke here. And they're making the umpire's life pretty easy. Both crews right on the outside of the course, right out by the booms.
Yeah, it's going to feel like there's acres of space in between those two boats, right side by side as we're looking at them, but one of them right up towards the Buckinghamshire boom and the other one the Berkshire boom.
Yeah, acres of space side to side, but it's probably not going to be from stern to tail, is there? I think this is going to go all the way side by side. We've got Sam Bodkin in the bow seat of the Windsor Boys Squad, who's a new entry into this crew from the crew that won last year. He was obviously sitting on the banks last year and was thinking, well, that's my crewmates in there winning that Fawley, and this is now his chance here. He's joined that crew, and he's going to want to show that, you know, he should have been in it last year, and now this is his chance to win it.
Yeah, he was talking about how he has raced the regatta in the P, in the Princess Elizabeth, and the 8. He hadn't been selected for this boat, and he wants to win. That's what he's here for. He's going for the win.
And look at that Sydney crew now needing to ride over the waves a little bit on this Buckinghamshire station. There's a bit of popple in the water. They've handled it pretty well. I'm sure they're used to training in Sydney Harbour, where you have to get out and there's bumps and there's waves there, but this is unique conditions here at Henley.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, they're used to those ferries moving around in Sydney Harbour, and then obviously their race prep pieces on Penrith Lake. But yeah, it is quite bouncy out there. There's a lot of people out there enjoying the sunshine and the England wind. So yeah, there's a bit of popple coming across.
Yeah, and it looks like that Windsor Boys crew now has made a little bit of a steering change. It looks like almost they're coming towards us a little bit. They've certainly come away from the booms and out towards the middle. Richard Phelps in that Latimer Blazer maybe reaching for his flag, but not yet. The Windsor Boys crew's made a nice correction there, and both crews nicely on their station, I'd say.
Yeah, this is about watermanship on this regatta. It's not a clear 6-lane course. You know, you're not held in by a boot at the start. You have to get your boat straight. You have to stay on top of your steering and stay on top of the conditions. And really fantastic watermanship by both these crews. Windsor Boys yesterday, they went a little bit slower than Sydney to the Fawley and at the same time to the barrier. So I was expecting to stay right up against each other, but it is Windsor Boys who have grabbed the race, and they've got themselves a length ahead at the moment.
Yeah, that was a very tight race yesterday with Windsor Boys versus Westminster, and actually Sydney obviously having that crash and then coming back to race against Gloucester. Maybe that sort of crash from yesterday has shaken them up a little bit, and actually it's showing today rather than it was yesterday. Maybe they were still riding the adrenaline, but yeah, still all to play for here.
Well, it's a horrible thing, isn't it, when you crash a rowing boat, because it's all carbon fibre, and you know, it's all the forces that go into very small areas. When you see that bow ball, see all this force, all this speed, and to have a crash like they had was a pretty nasty one, damaging the boat, causing them some potential injuries. So it's just great that they're back in the boat again and unharmed. But this Windsor Boys squad sculling very nicely.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? Chris Morrell, the sort of stalwart of the club, he's been coaching the J14s there for decades. You know, he's been teaching sculling. These sort of people, they've been giving up their time for a long period of time. He'll be loving to see this Windsor Boys quad that's coached by Mark Wilkinson now.
Well, Chris Morrell's one of those stalwarts of rowing, isn't he? He goes back to the days of Ian Wheel. He rowed back in my day as an old boy from the Windsor Boys School, made into the Great Britain team, much like yourself, Adam Freeman-Task.
Yeah, you and Ian raced together, didn't you? You even did the America's Cup together, didn't you? So you were good teammates there.
We did go off, yes. Ian Wheel and I both rowed, sculled in the Great Britain team at the same time, then both went off for a little stint of sailing. Both working on America's Cup boats. Both now enjoying our positions here at Henley, watching, in this case, his old school performing really nicely out on the water. And we see the crew from Sydney still sculling really nicely, leaving those arms long and straight out in front of them, levering the quad along. It looks very tidy for a junior quad, but it's just very tough racing now on semi-final day.
And look at these two crews, they really are very comfortable with their steering, their boatmanship. They both seem really comfortable being right up against the booms. They've got their boats just going along perfectly straight. You can see very, very little happening on the rudder, and it's allowing them to do their best rowing. Windsor Boys, look at that, out over their toes, lifting it up, and they just look a really strong, powerful crew there.
They look class, don't they? I saw them at Marlow and they were looking good. I think they've really stepped on again there, actually, and they have really started to turn the screw there pretty hard there on Sydney. That's going to be quite a distance to make up here. They've done very well for a semi-final here in the heat, making that sort of assuring their position there and really trying to get that good race into the final.
So, Adam, it's interesting you say they've stepped on since Marlow, because I know at National Schools in May they were quite well beaten by the quad from Maidenhead, who I know were already in the final of the Fawley. What do you think they've done to step on in this way?
I think the way that Mark structures their season, I mean, they just focus in on Henley, so they will train through those regattas, and actually, you know, sometimes that's worth doing, isn't it? Because it's not about those early pre-season races, it's about the last race of the day. It's about whoever is in that final racing tomorrow. That is your final race of the season, so you want to peak for that, and I suspect that's what Mark's done with his crew. They're looking slightly sharper, they've obviously put in the miles, and they're moving well.
And peaking now, I've just noticed 3:11, I think I saw on the board, that is equaling the record to Fawley, so they really have peaked. They're coming good at the right time, and Maidenhead will be watching. They've been an incredibly strong crew again. Sydney, this race isn't over, but look at that. Windsor Boys have just put in a really, really fast first half, and they've capitalised it, held that lead.
The green racing machine they are there. Good job, guys. Well done.
So we see the Sydney crew coming over the line at Henley Royal Regatta. The Windsor Boys crew just holding the boat up. But confirmation there of the win in the Fawley for the Windsor Boys School over Sydney Rowing Club. So yeah, really strong performance, really looking forward to this one tomorrow. Local rivals will have Windsor Boys School against Maidenhead Rowing Club, and 3:11 through Fawley, equalling the record.
So it's going to be all about the green tomorrow.
Certainly will. Both those clubs do wear green. Green Stars of Maidenhead. Green, what do you call the green of Windsor Boys?
Green and gold of Windsor Boys, yeah, that's right.
And the green and gold. But it's not the green and gold of the Australians. The crew from Sydney, unfortunately, were beaten today, but they will be able to enjoy, I hope, the rest of the regatta. I hope they'll enjoy the rest of their experience here in Henley and in England and the United Kingdom.